Are you someone or one of those entrepreneurs who's always feels like there's never enough time to get everything done that you want to get done? Or do you constantly hear yourself saying, if I only had more money, I could do more things with my business? Well, in the next 30 minutes, myself and my illustrious panel are going to talk about how to get rid of that overwhelm using the law of attraction. My name is Dana Smithers, and I'm a certified law of attraction trainer and business coach. And I coach women, mainly solopreneurs, who very often are coming to me because they're struggling with something or they don't know how to attract more clients, so usually struggling with something, and they get into that overwhelmed feeling where it's just all too much, I can't do it. And I know what it's like to be a solopreneur. I've been a solopreneur actually for, I guess, about 12 years or a little bit longer. And we're going to talk to our panel today and find out about their journey and who they what they do and what they kind of hear from their clients as well. So I'd like to just tell you what the topic is today. So it's how to get rid of overwhelm using the law of attraction. And I'm going to be talking a lot about this particular relationship, how your words affect your thoughts, and those thoughts affect what you're feeling. And from there, you get the results that you get. Because the law of attraction is very obedient. The law of attraction is just like the law of gravity. We can't see it, but we know it's in operation. And a good definition of the law of attraction is that I attract to my life and business whatever I give my attention, energy, or focus to. So when we think of feeling overwhelmed, usually we get in that spiral situation where it just gets worse. I can't do this, and poor me, and oh my, what am I going to do? And we get into that really victim mode. So today's tips and law of attraction technique I'm going to explain to you is going to help you get rid of that lack mindset, because when you don't have enough time, money, or energy, you have a lack mindset, and that's not going to serve you. So we want to get that into the abundance mindset, because abundance is everywhere. You just need to have your eyes open and be able to receive it. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's program. But right now I would like to introduce my wonderful panel. Both of these women are entrepreneurs, and I have known them for several years, and I have known Susan Friesen actually for a probably since I first got started, Sue. So I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell people who you serve, who your clients are, where you live, and maybe even a little bit of our history, how you saved me.
Well, thank you, first of all, Dana, for having me on the panel. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here and to help share the message that you and I both strongly believe in. We've been discovering together through our own experiences how overwhelm is just impacting entrepreneurs on such an enormous way that it's just getting in their way. So this is a fabulous topic. I'm Susan Friesen. I am the owner of eVision Media. We are a boutique web development and marketing firm located in Abbotsford, British Columbia, which is about 40 miles outside of Vancouver. And our main focus is working with entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs, and we are an all under one roof kind of a entity where we can help people right from the start with their establishing their brand, and then going right through to their marketing materials, their website, search engine optimization, ongoing maintenance and support. And I also teach social media in a group mentoring program that we do once a month. And so I'm basically my whole platform is here to support entrepreneurs. That's how my business has evolved over the years. It was just responding to the needs of the people that I was meeting on the streets and saying, hey, can you do this? And I go, sure. So over the years, I have built a team of experts, so I do not need to know everything, which is one of the big messages of today. I let go of that need to know everything, and instead I brought on experts in their field. So I have programmers and graphic designers, marketers, SEO specialists on my team. So as a combination, we can serve an entrepreneur on many different levels. Yeah, how I saved you, my gosh, I don't remember the exact year, but we must be getting close to 8 to 10 years by now. I'm sure of it. And I remember getting a panic email from you. Your website was down and everything was a big mess, and it was like a Saturday night or something like that. And I rolled up my sleeves and got to work, and we fixed everything up. And since then, I think we've built several websites for you. And the latest one, we just talked about branding. We just rebranded you very recently with the new logo, the new website, and it really showcases you in the in what you're doing so beautifully right now. So very proud of what we've done for you.
Right. Thanks so much, Sue. And I'm just delighted with Sue and the team. And that's one area that I want Sue to talk about is sharing a bit more about that overwhelm, because we can't do everything. And every solopreneur in the beginning, I think we all become lone rangers, and I can do it all, and nobody can do it as well as me, and all of that stuff goes on in our head. And then, but the reality is, we just find ourselves getting into overwhelm, and then they go, well, I can't afford to hire somebody because I don't have enough clients yet. But if I don't hire somebody, then I won't have any clients, and this whole thing just goes round in circles. And I'm getting a little dizzy even just talking about it. So yeah, Sue, we'll talk about that later for sure. And Karen Lasky, welcome. So Karen, I think you and I have known each other. I know we met at eWomen, and I actually won a session with you for hypnotherapy.
That's right.
Which was very helpful. I was very excited about that. So Karen, tell us about yourself, where you live, and who your clients are.
Okay. Well, again, thank you, Dana, and thank you for having me and inviting me to be here today. My name is Karen Lasky, and I'm a counselor and hypnotherapist, and I work in private practice in New Westminster. And my passion is really to help people really believe in who they are. Get rid of their underlying doubts and fears and really step into who they are so that they can have a successful life, a successful business, successful families, just really feel like they're feeling fulfilled and living the best that they can live. And so my work with clients is to help them discover what's the underlying belief that's going on that's keeping them stuck, either in fear or overwhelm or self-doubt, and just really and helping them understand who they really are.
Right. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Karen. And we'll get back to that, because what you said about fear and doubt and overwhelm, all of those are from a lack consciousness. So that's a very negative mindset. So I'm just going to give the little teaching principle on the law of attraction here. So the law of attraction's job description is only 2 words: match vibrations. That's all it does. So if you're in overwhelm and you keep staying in overwhelm, I'm sorry, ladies, but you're going to attract more overwhelm. You're going to keep on attracting the negative. However, once you shift out of that, and I'm going to give you a little technique of how to do that, then you can change your vibration. And once you move into more positive vibration, then you start attracting more positive things. But it's you becoming aware that, oh, it's another negative thought that I've got going on, so you just have to stop it. So just a little teaching point here. I talked about this in the beginning, but this is how everything gets started. So we start with our words. So let's say our words happen to be, I'm so frustrated, I'll never get this job done. So those words form the thoughts. And Sue and Karen, what would be the vibe from that? I'm so frustrated, I'll never get this done. Positive or negative?
Oh, very negative.
Totally negative. So when we have that vibe, the result that we're going to get is not manifesting what we want. So the most important thing, though, are our vibes. And as far as our vibes go, let's just look at the negative part. When we're way over here, 100% negative, or maybe we're in that sort of 50 to 100. So what kind of things would your clients be saying? They can't do this, or what's their negative thought going to be?
Oh, well, it's all based on lack. I don't have enough clients. I don't have enough money.
So
I
not enough
don't
clients, not enough money.
not enough time. I don't
Yeah,
know everything I need to know
yeah,
yet.
yeah. So we get a
Yeah.
little bit of poor me, and we get this negative vibe happening,
Mhm.
right? Okay.
Mhm.
So from that negative vibe, we have to learn how to change that. So here's my tip for you. So you can write this down if you would like. So what we're going to do is we're going to reset our vibe. And how we do that is by asking ourselves this one question. So reset that vibe. We're going to ask the question, so what do I want? Just reset the vibe. So when we go from, Karen, let's take one of your clients here. Let's have a negative, a naggy negative. Well, we won't give that person a name, right? If they had a negative vibe, what might be something that they're saying that's giving them this feeling?
Well, they would be saying that they just can't do it. They're just not confident enough. That would be what they would say.
Okay. So they can't do it. They're not confident enough. So this is what we're going to say to them. Karen, what are you going to say to them?
I'm going to say, reset your vibe. What do you want?
Exactly.
What do you want? Yeah, and for them to get clear.
Exactly. So when we change that vibe, again, we go back to this. If we change that, oops, the vibe is here. When we change that vibe, we change the result we get. But we have to go back to the words that we're saying. And those words will give us a certain thought. So let's just have a bit of fun here and let's give an example of how we could reset that vibe, but also reframe the words. So, Susan, let's say your client has said to you, Susan, I can't, I don't have enough money to do everything that I need to do on my website. I don't know what to do. How could you reframe that for them?
Well, just say, well, what do you want, and what do you,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
What do you want, right? What are the priorities?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and what is possible, and what are you going to do to make it happen so that it can work?
Exactly. So it's knowing, getting clear on it, but also figuring out some action steps. And so I know when I first worked with you way back when I was a solopreneur, I didn't have a big budget like everybody, and so you worked with me, and you said, okay. I said, okay, Sue, this is my budget. What can we do? So you came back to me and said, okay, this is what we can do, and we kind of did it in phases. Same with when we did my new website, right? I think women think they have to do it all at once, like, oh, because they get in that fear mentality of what about my competition, right? And that can often take, just takes people out of the game altogether. So, having them reframe. And when you work with Susan, what kinds of things would you offer them, Sue? Just to help them through, because I know, you have different types of options for people, right?
Well, one of the most common one of the most common things that people take advantage of is that we're more than happy to offer a payment plan. And so you don't have to come up with all of that money all at once.
Yeah. Okay.
So I definitely work with my clients. We come up with okay, what can we do, knowing that we can break this up over several months or whatever it takes. Right. And then let's make it happen,
Perfect.
Because until you do that, then you're got yourself positioned on a platform that will attract much more of the high-paying clients that you're looking for.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think something with women, when we get into that lack mindset about money, and I'm going to be really honest with you, ladies, sometimes I do get into that mindset. But what I have to do is I wear my reset vibe button and I look at, well, what do I want? We have to look more longer term, right? It's an investment. Anything that you're doing, if you're hiring someone like Susan Friesen to do your website, your SEO, your graphics, whatever, her boutique firm is very, very full service. then she's going to help you figure out what's the best thing you need, what's the best package for you. And the same with Karen. And Karen, let's just talk about you, because you, let's just take that solopreneur that comes to you and she just says, you know, I've got a family, I've got a husband that expects dinner on the table at 6 o'clock every night, and not only that, he wants a gourmet meal. So, you know, it's true, right? We might be women entrepreneurs, but most of us, well, many of us have a partner or family responsibilities, right? Yeah. So, Karen, what would be a tip that you could give somebody that, or maybe even one of your therapies that you use that maybe kind of talks them through to get that, you know, that I don't have enough time to do all of this and all that stuff going on? What would you suggest there?
Well, thanks, Dana. Time is the one. It's my personal one as well. And I think what I like people to understand is that when we're in overwhelm, especially around I'm not going to get everything done, or overwhelm in general, we're usually having an unconscious prediction of a failure of an outcome. So it's to remind people that they actually don't know the future, and they can come back to creating that. So reminding them of that, having them really get into the present. And when they're in that overwhelmed feeling and they feel like they can't do it all, is to actually do the opposite of what we want to do, which is usually we want to just try to do more, which is to actually stop, reset, right? Get off that hamster wheel, do something, even if it's just 5-10 minutes of a walk that brings them back into their body.
Yeah.
And then practically, you know, remember there's priorities. What are your priorities? And, you know, a tool that I use myself and for my clients is, you know, once I have my priorities, it's making sure that I just do even one thing off my list, business and personal, every day, so that I know that I'm at least moving forward.
Yes.
And then when it comes to, you know, having so much that you actually, you know, you've got your family, like you say, you want your husband that wants his gourmet meal, it's really remembering you can't do it all. And I think we talked about that in the very beginning, and it is okay to ask for help, and you know, you need to ask for help in those times, and getting clear about where you actually do need the help. So again, what do I want? I want help here, I want help there, getting clear about what that help is.
Absolutely. And that's a perfect segue into, I was coaching one of my clients yesterday. She actually taught me how to do Google Hangouts. That's her business. She's an entrepreneur who is also a full-time flight attendant, but she has started a business as a solopreneur teaching people how to do Google Hangouts. And I have the privilege of coaching her because she's been a flight attendant, so she doesn't know that much about running a business. And we were talking yesterday, and she was just saying that she had to sit down and say, so what do I want? I'm a full-time flight attendant. You know, I'm concerned about my husband because I'm not seeing him that much because I'm starting this business and all that. Right, so we get into that whole lack mindset. So it's just what you said, Karen, and same with you, Sue. Just stop. Slow down. Get clarity on what it is you want. And what Debbie wanted, my client, she's in Florida, all she wanted to do was show up just like we're doing, have everything done in the background, have it all set up, have all her SEO done, all her blogs done, all her YouTube videos done with all the annotations. So that's what she focused on. And within a few days, she actually got the perfect company to work for her that does everything that they does, and they happen to have a special on as well, so she attracted that. So she's trying them out, right? It may not be the best company down the road, but so she said, I got it. I manifested it, right? All I have to do, because again, if we go back to this little relationship, when she started out here, she's saying, how can I do this? I'm a full-time flight attendant. My husband wants dinner when I'm home. I've got to see my grandchildren because I love my grandchildren. I don't know that there's going to be any me time because I can't, I don't know, I'm too stressed out to do that. So what kind of vibe was she sending out when she was starting? Ladies?
Negative.
Totally negative. And again, if we look at the relationship, those words and the thoughts and the vibes, it's like, all I want to do is show up. I don't have any other time in my schedule to do that. So she did exactly what I just told you. She reset her vibe. And in Law of Attraction, we have a three-step formula that we use, and I'll talk to you about that at the end. But just asking that question, so what do I want? Or saying that to somebody when they're negative or grumbling about something. So what do you want? You know, the husband comes in, and I'm just, you know, saying this because don't tell my husband I said this, but, you know, I'm in the office, right? He's looking at me, and he goes, so when's dinner? And I'm going like, do you not think I'm still working right now? You know, right? Because I have a home office. So I suspect that happens to other women. Sue, I'm sure it happens to you with Daniel, right? Like, you know, I'm still working here, right? So he'll say, well, you know, when's dinner? And it's like, well, when would you like to have dinner? You know, then we can set a time, and I'll say, okay, we'll go make it. Or else I'll say, okay, that's when I'll make it, right? But we have to have priorities, and you know, I want to be in this vibe. You know, I want to finish up what I'm doing. If he wants to make dinner, I'm good with that. You know, that's just fine with me, right? And that's a little bit about the delegating. So, Sue, I actually want to go back to you and talk about how you built your business just from you. And I don't think Daniel was even part of it in the beginning. I think it was just you. No. So maybe share that, because you know, that's you in overwhelm. Oh my goodness, I can't do this, and how am I going to do it all? And then, you know, trusting the law of attraction to figure it out as well. So maybe tell us about your journey on that area.
Well, yeah, it was an interesting journey. I'm what one would call a generalist. I do have a lot of schooling in all the different areas that we do offer, so it's not as if I don't know anything about any given thing that we offer. But what I was discovering is that I'm definitely stronger in some points and weaker in others. And so I focused on, right? I can't imagine anybody being an absolute expert in everything. And so it became very obvious, you know, soon into my business, that my weakest link was the hardcore programming. I knew how to build a website back then. It was way, way easier than it is now. And so my first hire was to bring in somebody who was my weakest link, which was a programmer. And just by doing that, it just opened up a whole world of possibilities, that all of a sudden we could build websites far more superior than what I could do by myself, which opened up our business, brought in more clients and more abilities. And then I just kept kind of following that same path. Okay, my next weakest link was building, you know, doing hardcore graphic design. You know, like I was doing logos, but, you know, my expertise was, I didn't have enough education to really do a proper job. So I brought in a graphic designer to do the branding. And then when Daniel came in, well, he made the fatal mistake one day of asking, is there anything I can do to help, dear? And yes, here you go. And so I passed over all the SEO stuff to him, and he's brilliant at it because he loves problem solving and puzzles. And so it was just perfect, you know. So I just kept delegating all of my weakest abilities. And luckily for me, Daniel is also an accountant, so he does my bookkeeping and things like that. But absolutely, that would have been another thing that I would have delegated, is to find somebody to do my bookkeeping and that kind of work. So that's basically how I built it. You know, you just kind of focus on what you really are good at, and delegate to everybody else who are in their brilliance by doing what they are exceptionally good at.
Absolutely. And I think some really key points there, Sue, are that, you know, in the beginning I did my own website. You know, this goes back a long time, and I know you've laughed about this, but my first website was in something called Front Page. And actually my husband built that for me. And so I would do all my own photos. You know, I would do it all myself. And but it got to a point where, you know, I mean, when I started really out as an interior decorator, not many interior decorators had websites. That's what you're saying, Sue, right? Like long ago, it wasn't the sophistication that it is now, right? Everything that we have to do for that investment. So I could easily do it myself. But I got to the point where it would take me maybe, say, 2 hours to do a blog post, or sorry, to do a newsletter, or yeah, maybe even a blog post at that time, right? Because I didn't know how to do it. So I'm trying to learn everything, right? I'm doing it. And then finally, and same with bookkeeping. I'm a terrible bookkeeper, not a sacred gift of mine. Not many solopreneurs are good at bookkeeping. So as soon as I could get rid of, so that was getting rid of my overwhelm as well, was looking for people that I could do things. At the time, and I'm going back a long time, say I was making $50 an hour, which was really good coming out of, for me starting my own business. I thought that was amazing, right? And doing that, but I figured, well, it only cost me $35 an hour to get them to do it, and that only takes 1 hour, so why am I wasting my time doing something and not even doing it well? And when it came to bookkeeping, the fear that was there, well, what if I ever got audited, and somebody asked me something? I don't know, right? So what we're saying, ladies, is to get rid of that overwhelm, prioritize what you have. Take small steps, figure it out what it is you have to do, and once you start doing that, you're going to start to reduce the doubt that you're able to have the business that you want, because it's all about that doubt. And I'm going to ask Karen to talk a little bit more about that, right? But in terms of manifesting, the manifestation, the result that we want comes about by reducing the doubt. We don't have to be 100% doubt-free, but we have to think that we're able to do it. And when we free up these other tasks, or we tell the family, Karen, right? Like, yeah. I'm sure with women that you work with, as you say yourself, right? You've got a partner, and you've got family obligations and a business and everything else to do. So what would be some ways that people could look for evidence that what they're doing, that they're on the right path when they're working with you? What would they see? Would they show you a little result, or do they have to go for the big result? What do you suggest they go for?
Well, that's a very good question, because most people are looking for that big result, but so I'm always asking them, what are the smaller steps? It's really, even in how you're responding differently to your life, or I asked my husband to empty the dishwasher, fantastic, or I'm just feeling
actually, that's a good point, asking, right?
Asking, yes.
Ask, because ladies, we don't ask enough. So what happens when we do the ask, when we're saying it in a loving and respectful way, and right, not the whoever's taking out the garbage, right? Whether it's a child in the family or a partner, whatever, it's like, you didn't take out the blank garbage, right? It's still sitting there. Is that going to get us what we want, Karen?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I did do a little blog one time about saying no to others is like saying yes to yourself, and so this kind of just segues into that.
Yeah.
When you say yes to yourself, then you can also figure out what it is you want to actually ask for, and getting clear that what you need in that ask. Again, it's just getting clear about what you want, I think, right? But again, to go back to really acknowledging the little things that shift in you, and even you responding to something different, or feeling a little bit different when you wake up in the morning, or and again, I just really want to reiterate, that we can predict when we have fear and doubt and overwhelm. Our mind is predicting something that is negative, and so to remember that the future is not told, we are going to create it, and to just have remember that the possibilities there are for you to create your future, not be a slave to some predetermined outcome.
Yes, I really, really like that. That's a really good way, a little bit different way of saying it, right? Because it's that expectation that you get up in the morning and you're not feeling good, and you spill the coffee, and button pops off your blouse, and in my case it might be a step on the cat's tail or something like that, right? So at that point, this is what I have to do, and I recognize it immediately. So what I have to do it, right? Because of course I go there. I mean, I'm consider myself an expert in the law of attraction and teaching it. It doesn't mean that I don't attract some of these things, ladies. It doesn't mean that Susan doesn't, or that Karen don't ever feel an overwhelm. Of course we do. Yeah. Because we live in a very busy world, and there's all sorts of things coming at us. But it's, a lot of it is, what are we putting in our consciousness kind of who are we hanging out with, and I like that one about who are you asking help from, right? So it's getting clear on what you need, you know, asking for it, and then when you receive it. So Karen, let's go back to that when we're talking about the person taking out the garbage, and they've done that. What should our ladies or women entrepreneurs be saying to that person that's done that for them?
Just appreciating them and acknowledging and maybe even sharing the impact that it's made on them.
Yes, I like that.
Doing that has given me so much room. Now I feel like I can do this, or
yeah, exactly.
It's given me this much time.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's taken this much pressure off.
Exactly. And that pressure and that stress, again, those are all negative feelings. So, you know, that just helps us, you know, we let them know that we appreciate them, which is super important as well, right? So it becomes a win-win that way, rather than the negative comments that we do give them. Yeah. Sue, I just wanted to come back to you and talk a little bit about some of the reframes. You found that article first, which kind of got you're like, whoa, ladies, stop, right? And you sent it to me, and I'm like, whoa, I'm all over this, right? Like, of course we all go into overwhelm. You know, it's a natural human feeling, but it's not one that you have to carry on with. It's just like Karen said, it doesn't have to be our future. So let's go back to the now and the present moment. You know, that's why I love Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, because all we can deal with is what's going on right now. So if we think of some of those comments, can you remember some of them, and we can kind of do a reframe on them? Because that's what we did in the blog article that I wrote for you, and then we posted it in a few places as well. But it was mainly time, money, and energy.
Yeah, and not knowing enough.
Yes,
and I wanted to quickly address that, because what I'm finding, and in fact I was just talking to a client this morning about this, is that they keep chasing after these shiny objects, you know, and it's just like they're constantly self-doubting themselves and think that they need to attend every webinar and take every course and do all of this and listen to everybody else instead of trusting themselves. And that, to me, is what's causing this perpetual feeling of it's not enough, not enough, not enough. And then that gets compounded because everybody that they listen to is coming to them from their own agenda, conflicting messages. You know, one person is saying to do it this way, the other person is saying to do it that way. No wonder everybody's in a state of overwhelm. Yeah. Because we're all, a lot of entrepreneurs just starting out are waiting for somebody to tell them what to do, to find that shine, you know, that magic wand, and voila, everything will just magically fall into place. And of course that never happens, so it's just an ongoing cycle. And so, you know, all of these messages that we were reading in that thread was all about that. You know, I don't have enough clients, I don't have enough money, I don't know how to do my marketing, I need a new website and I have no idea how to build it myself. Well, why would you want to build a website yourself? For crying out loud, are you going to get into the web development business, or are you focusing on your own core competency? So everybody's just, and all of these messages from this mass media, they're all telling them that they should. Oh, you can whip up your own website. Just press a button and WordPress just miraculously makes it for you. But what they're not taking into consideration is the brand and how you present yourself and how people are perceiving you. If you have a homemade looking website that looks like you homemade it, guess what? You're going to attract a lot of people who think that you're dirt cheap. Right. And so, you know, there's a whole psychological factor about that, which I won't get into because I've gotten to the topic. But I needed to rant about that for a second because that was a lot of them. I don't know how to market myself. I don't know SEO. I don't know how to do my own website. And plus all of that, I have no money to afford to do this.
Okay, I think we could say that Sue's rather passionate. About that, and Sue and I have had that conversation many times, and I'm since I coach women in business as well, starting up or starting over. Even when you're starting over, I just want you to let go of everything that you did before, hire somebody to do those things professionally that are going to make a big difference. And as you said, Sue, it's all about your brand. You know, that's a good topic for another time, but I actually wanted to come back to something that you said which is, all of us get inundated. I get on people's mailing lists, which supposedly that wasn't supposed to happen so much anymore, but I get so much stuff coming in, I just automatically unsubscribe. Even if it's somebody I know, I don't want more stuff in my inbox because my head is exploding some days. When I get a ream of emails like that, and okay, how many of them do I really need to answer? Maybe 10? So what we have to do, and ladies, I would say this to you is, if you don't want that information, don't even bother putting it into to read later file, because you're never going to read it.
That's right.
That's just where we put it, right? And then eventually, like I've done, and I'm sure there are many like you, I just delete the whole folder. It's like, I'm not going to, if I didn't read it now or within certainly the week, chances I'm not going to read it. Or by the time it comes that I want to do it, everything will have changed. It'll be outdated, right? So it's like, okay, I don't need to know that, right? But clean out your inbox and make sure that you unsubscribe to a lot of things that you don't want. And we don't have time to go into social media and where to spend time, but that'd be a good, definitely. That's where a lot of people, and I think that was one of the comments as well, Sue, is not enough time for social media. Well, we've got to be strategic about everything that we do. It's not to say, well, we only have so many hours in the day. Reframe it. This is how many hours I'm going to focus on my work today. Do I have half an hour to do social media? Chances are you do. But as Karen said, you start worrying about it, and that goes in your head, and I'm getting an overwhelm, and I'm not going to be able to do it. Well, now your half hour's up, ladies.
Yeah.
Right? Half hour's up,
Yeah.
and it's up because you started going into other things, and you got sidetracked with this or that, right? So, the point of this is, getting clear on what it is you want. When you start your morning, not everybody, we all have all different learning styles, but I'm one of those people. I like to have a to-do list. Every day I look at my goals. I know some people do it at night, but I do it in the morning. I do a little square empty box, and I just love going like this. Check. I did it. And sometimes, and this is kind of one of the really bad things that I think other people do, I don't think I'm alone, I will actually write down something that I didn't have written down that I did, that I can put a box right and go check, right?
Guilty.
You got, gals are guilty of that. Karen, you ever done that one? Sue, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, to go back and write something down? But, the point is, this is what happens. We feel good.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, yay, I got something done. So, we want to keep the tasks small, prioritize what you've got, take the small steps. But Sue, I also wanted to come back to, I think, a point that you made, even with the other stuff that was going on, but trust yourself.
Yeah.
Take a minute and trust yourself. If you meet somebody at networking and they want to follow up with you, and you get the feeling that they really want to sell you something. What did you say, Karen? What's that expression you said about saying no?
Say yes to yourself. Say yes to yourself.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of things come my way this week that some of them I'll say yes to, and some of them I just do it. I just did it yesterday with someone that has another summit coming up, and I've got a couple coming up, and I just said, thanks very much for the invitation, but I've got a lot on my plate right now, because actually my gut feeling wasn't very good about it. I didn't even take the time to go to the website and who it was. So, it's really important, especially with the law of attraction, because we have this, internal guidance system, which is our gut feeling. If it doesn't, if you're getting this kind of feeling, if you're getting this about some work that you're looking at, or a client, or should I do this or should I do that, if it really feels negative, trust your gut and don't do it. It's like Sue said, there's so many people that are going to tell us they're expert in this or expert in that, and here you don't, so many people, this is what you need to do and what you need to do. So rely on your instinct, rely on your gut. Who does it feel good to work with?
Yeah.
And I think that's, that's part of that bottom line there. So Sue and Karen, our time has flown by. So I'd just like to ask maybe Sue for one tip that you could give people, maybe even in when they're overwhelmed about what they need to do with their website.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking of the one tip, and the one thing that I shared this morning with my overwhelmed client was to stop thinking that you need to do everything today.
Yes.
And be grateful for the results that are happening right now. You know, really be grateful for what is happening.
Perfect.
And get back to the basics. You know, there's nothing. I don't care what business you're in. Nothing works better than getting out there in person and doing in-person networking, meeting people one-on-one. It doesn't matter if you don't have a website. Like if you have a choice between a nice, beautiful website or you know, something that you just plugged and played, get rid of it. Like that's doing you more harm than good.
Yeah.
Go out there and build your business. Pretend it's 15 years ago when websites didn't exist, social media didn't exist, and pound the pavement. You know, nothing replaces the benefits of just getting yourself visible in your own local community, and then build from there.
Yeah, good, great tip, thank you. And Karen, how about you?
Again, I think the biggest tip I can give, and I use this myself, is when I'm in that overwhelm, is simply to stop, take a look around, see what I have accomplished, where I am, get back in the now, and then think about what I want.
Right.
And what is my next step.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and I think both of you touched on, you know, look for that evidence of what you have accomplished, and also express a gratitude for it, right?
Yeah.
Because you know, we're always, I find that women in business, ones I coach or just women I meet, that it's, you know, we do the to-do list. It's like, okay, did this, okay, next. It's like, you know, we don't savor. Like, I'm a big fan of this. I keep this at my desk. My pom-poms. Because when I'm coaching my clients and they do something, I'm going like this, and I go, do you get it? I said, take a minute, breathe it in, yay, you know, do your happy dance. I don't care what it is, but, you know, sometimes it's all those little tiny things that we have on our to-do list that niggle and niggle and niggle and just drive us insane and make us feel overwhelmed. Maybe you take a Friday, or maybe you take a day on the weekend that's not a work day for you, whatever day. Maybe you take an afternoon and say, you know what, I'm going to do all those small little things, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask myself, so what do I want, right? What I want, it's you know, it's simple, but it's not necessarily easy, right? It's what Karen said, stop the madness, right? Stop the overwhelm. So ladies, thank you so much for being on the program today. So I will be doing more regular Hangouts with Dana shows, and we'll have guests like this. But one thing I just wanted to leave everybody with, if you want more of this Law of Attraction training, then you can go to my website, and I have a 4-part series coming up. I offer this training throughout the year, so you just go to danasmithers.com/programs/law-of-attraction. And I know you'll love my website because Susan Friesen and her team did it, and I love it. It's a nice, fresh, new look. Even though I already had this website up a few years ago, but I just felt while I was moving more into the 100% coaching and the masterminds and law of attraction and sacred gifts as well as something I do, that I really wanted a fresh look, and that's what I got, and I love it. So check us out. Susan, let's just have your website again that you can tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at www.evisionmedia.ca. Not .com. You got to go to the .ca version.
.ca. Okay, thanks, Sue. And Karen?
www.laskytherapy.com.
Right, perfect. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. We're going to end our broadcast now, and hopefully this has given a lot of the entrepreneurs some good tips about how to get rid of that overwhelm using law of attraction. Thanks, ladies.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.